So I'll just do a quick tour of the garden in April. I haven't done a garden tour for ages, mainly because there aren't that many people that seem to be interested in them, but I know a few of my followers like them, so I thought I'm going to do one. Also, I was just really pleased with how some of these tulips came out. Some of these ones I probably wouldn't have bought, but they were giving them away free at B&M, and I actually just really love them. I've been really busy planting and sowing, and I've got a lot to show you, but I won't get it all done in this video. So here is the kind of view out my back door. This is just my usual planting area. I am actually going to sort out this patio. I feel like it's a waste of planting space. These are all my transplants, my fever for cut flowers, etc. Got some seed sowing, and I've got all sorts of things going on here. I've got things that are transplanted, things that are growing. I've got some California sort of apple blossom poppies growing there. I've got some oregano, some white mallow musk. These are the poppies here that I transplanted just the other day. They're honestly nearly everyone germinated. They were just really, really good. Supposedly apple blossom. The only thing I didn't realise was they're quite short, so I don't know if they're going to make it a cut flower yet. We'll see. Lots of forget-me-nots. I always let the forget-me-nots run wild in the garden because the ladybirds like them, and of course the more ladybirds you have, the more they eat the aphids, which of course will attack your roses and other things. So ladybirds are good, so leave your forget-me-nots to seed, and of course they're really jolly as well. Lots of bells of Ireland, well, not lots, but a few bells of Ireland growing this year, which I always like as a cut flower. I've got some stocks which I just sowed direct into this trough here. This again, as you can see, this pot here, just I let the forget-me-nots go wild. This box here is just one of my favourite trees. It gives a nice shape and structure to the garden, and the birds love their fledglings. They take off from there when they're learning to fly. So those are the tulips I got for free. Aren't they lovely? Like a claret colour. One is this kind of warmer two-tone, and then the other one is a kind of a more purple pink, cooler two-tone. But I really like, this is the kind of tulip that when I see it in a picture I would just flick past. I don't like it, but actual fact in real life I have been blown away by it. Some columbine here, just self-seeded, some scabious. I've got Bistorta pink pokers in here, cerinthe. I've got sweet peas growing in here. Anyhow, I was really happy with this border with the tulips and the daffodils. I've had several flushes of different types of daffodils here. So it's just been really pretty, and I've got to think about the transition next. And then all these pots have had daffodils, and this is obviously a rhododendron. This was a gift from my daughter. It's actually the first time it flowered. I've got a story about care for rhododendrons that I learned the hard way, and that's why it's only just flowered this year. This is my, what's that one? Like a dairy cream, clotted cream, Guernsey cream, clematis, that's what it is. So some Queen of the Night tulips there. So my Queen of the Night tulips haven't come up so well this year, so I'm thinking they may be just one-hit wonder tulips, those. I know people use them as cut flowers. I didn't use them as a cut flower, but only one or two have really come back this year, not very many. So I'll bear that in mind when I'm choosing my tulips for next year. I've got some alliums in here as well, and some Bistorta, Persicaria Bistorta pink pokers. So they come up about the same time as the alliums. At the back, that was Sweet Rocket and Honesty there, and they both have really nice white flowers, though they can have purple flowers. There's some Sweet William yet to come, some more daffs. I've got some more Feverfew. I've got these really pretty daffodils here, which I can't remember the name of, but definitely would get some more of those. Can see those looking really good in bouquets. And then I was cleaning out the greenhouse. I thought I'd do this as a kind of warts and all video, because I had to put this shelf up. I had to organise it because I'm growing so many more plants this year with a view to selling more cut flowers than I did last year, because I really enjoyed selling those cut flowers last year. So I put this shelving in here to put my transplants on. So I have all my transplants will go on here. I secured this to the back of the wood frame of the back of the hoop house so it won't tip. And then I have all my seeds starting here. I'm going to leave my vegetables actually on this side as well, but I have my seeds starting on this side, and then I will put my transplants on the shelf. Now if you're wondering why there aren't many seeds germinating, that's because I was using up in many cases old packets of seed and just overseeding to see what came up. And so some of these are obviously came from good packets of seeds and some of them came from old packets, and I just wanted to just use them all up, even if I just get 1 or 2 plants out of them. But there's lots here. I could do a separate greenhouse tour because just going through all these will take too long. But as you can see, I have done flowers and vegetable crops. So the vegetable crops will be for me. The flowers will also be for me, of course, as well. It's a cottage garden, but, you know, they're for sale as well. So as you can see there's the shelf. Now, I did sow a load of salad here, which was a mistake, I think. The salad here in the hanging baskets, which is charred, is fine. But I do wish I'd kept my flower crops in here because I've got snapdragons self-seeded everywhere in this bed. So I'm fishing out snapdragons and growing salad, and I just thought maybe I should transition my salad to another bed. But I've also got some ranunculus, which I thought I'd dug up, some bells of Ireland and some sweet peas here. So yeah, so I'm transplanting all the snapdragons that I can find that have self-seeded. I've got some Jerusalem artichoke, which I also think I'm going to move. I wasn't expecting them to get so big so early. You can see my snapdragons there, look. So yeah, so I've got a bit of organising to do here. You can see all these self-seeded snapdragons around. So I'm going to transplant them out, put them in their own separate pots. That seat is only in there while I transplant those seedlings because bending over is just driving me mad, hurting my back. And here's some gypsophilia here. And I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do in here still, but I had to take my chair out, which is a shame because I love having a little coffee in there when it's raining outside and it's a bit cold. But hey ho, you can't have it all. So here's my ranuncular bed with some tulips. So these were my free tulips as well from B&M, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I was experimenting with having some early colour while I'm waiting for the ranunculus to grow. And the frame is really just to stop the dogs and the cats knocking it all over and standing on them. I actually didn't plant as many ranunculus this year by the look of it. I seem to have gaps everywhere unless they just didn't come up. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that, but we'll see how they flower later. And then here I'm just showing you, I did a video on it, how I used the bare earth to just sow some more seeds. So I've got some calendula around these plants here. These were some poppies, perennial poppies, brilliant, I think they're called. They're all being potted up. This is my station. Of course, it's been in use, so this is all a bit of a mess. As I said, it's a work in progress. I've had the compost out and been transplanting all these seeds everywhere, and I will be doing more today. And the cardboard is for growing in and for just laying over bare earth. So I've got some weeds at the back of a border that I put the cardboard on. I'm going to put the compost on top of that. The problem with this box is I didn't use a sturdy enough box, so it has actually really sagged. But it's only growing my ammi in. Once my ammi has flowered and I've harvested it, I shall just take this box away. And that was an old shed, a tool shed that I bought from Amazon, which fell apart within days. So I'm just using it to grow my potatoes in at the moment. Not the most aesthetically pleasing looking container, but as you can see, you know, hey, I'm going to feed the family, so who cares? Lots of nice organic potatoes in there. And the sticks and everything are just to stop the cat getting in there and using it as a litter box. You know what they're like. So my pathways are recovering. Now anybody who's been following my videos for a long time knows that this was all lawn, by the way. This whole garden was just a lawn, and then I dug it up and put these borders, which I realised I can actually even widen them, I think. So and then the grass, where I dug up the borders, the grass was worn out. And I was debating whether to have grass or more gravel, but I decided that too much gravel would make the garden seem impersonal, and also it's less wildlife friendly. You know, the creatures do love transitioning from one border to another across the grass, etc. So I will keep the grass, and I just plugged it up where the grass has regrown in the borders or something. I've just taken that out and I've plugged it, and eventually it started to really recover without really any effort whatsoever. Lots more transplants in there, saponaria, lots more cut flowers. If you see pots and things or in boxes at the back of borders, they're often my cut flowers. This is my sort of mini vegetable patch at the back. It's kind of a bit neglected. I think I've got one carrot and some onions growing there. So I've kind of neglected them because I'm doing the flowers so much, but I will get round to them all. Alliums here are a bit crushed because I don't know why, but the dogs just always pad over them, which is slightly annoying, but there you go. And I have loads of sweet peas everywhere, as anybody who follows my garden knows. I have lots and lots of sweet peas every year. I also have some more ammi growing there. I've got some echinops. I've got the alliums, the tulips. Most of these will be harvested in some way or another for cut flowers, especially the annual things like the sweet peas and the ammi, because I can regrow them, so it's not such a big deal. So lots of those there. Back onto the pathways here. And just looking back, so you can see this time I put the sweet peas at the back of the border. These are columbine, granny's bonnet, aquilegia, whatever name you call them, but they're all the same plant. And I've planted some cut flowers here. These are clarkia in here. Actually, there's a mix of cornflower, clarkia, and saponaria, all going to be cut flowers. So what was I saying about sweet peas? Yeah, but I found that it was difficult because as the sweet peas were drying back, I wanted to harvest the seeds, but I also wanted the space to grow. And of course they were taking up that space while I was waiting for the seed pods to ripen. So I've put them all at the back this time. We'll see how it goes, see how it looks aesthetically. Because the tricky thing I have is that I'm growing a cottage garden, which is aesthetically pleasing for me, but also with lots of flowers that I can use for cutting, both for myself and of course I sell them. I did start selling them, of course, last year, and that was very casual. So I'm hoping to increase those sales this year, at least sell, maybe 3 to 5 bouquets a day or something like that. That's kind of my aim. But there you go. There's the 3 main borders that way, and then which I cut into the lawn because I sit kind of this side. So I can look out across the garden. And then we'll just look back across the garden. You can see the chicken coop over there. And I've got that area at the back which I'd like to use. I'm thinking of getting maybe some chickens. So it's a chicken coop at the moment, but it's obviously got gardening stuff in because that's what I always use every square inch of my house for gardening. So I've even got things growing on my window ledge in the house, of course. So I'm going to get chickens, and I'm thinking of maybe putting some sort of foraging area down where I have all these sticks here, which I have yet to I'm using these, I'm stripping them off bit by bit to use as poles and lattices and things that I can grow things up, so I'm not wasting them. And I thought maybe I could fence this bit off and have a little bit of a run down here where the chickens can come out and then run around here without sort of spoiling the garden. I don't know, it's all up in the air yet. I'm still thinking it through, but basically that's it. That's the cottage garden. It's completely organic. It's obviously biodiverse. I have so many birds here now, and insects and spiders and everything, There's no poison on this ground. So it's a really healthy, happy space. The animals, the insects have all moved in and the butterflies and bees. I have so many varieties of bees. I actually have more varieties of bees than I realised existed. So I'm really happy about that, because when I was growing up I just thought bees are bees, they're all kind of the same. I thought that we had English bees and there would be African bees and things like that, but I didn't realise we had so many actual different bees here in the UK, and I'm very happy to see them all in my garden. And we have 20 species of ladybird apparently, and I have at least 3 of those in my garden now as well as umpteen varieties of birds. I've seen so many birds in my garden of different breeds, which is just absolutely fantastic, and it's just the result of going organic, really, and working with nature, I suppose, rather than against it. But that's where we're at. So if you live local to me, by the way, you will be able to order soon. I've just got to finish it up on the website. Local flowers and local delivery. I will see where we go from there, but of course you can still visit my website because I have other stuff on there and information on there as well, and I'm definitely going to be more active on there. Maybe scale back the YouTube a tiny bit so that I will have more time to invest in the website and do weekly newsletters and things like that, and just make it a more interesting place for you to visit. And if you want to visit it and see it under construction right now, it's at www.jillbretherton.com. And don't forget to subscribe anyway, and like and comment, share your comments below, or ask any questions. Of course I will answer, and I'll see you again in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.